Year 2 of the Orioles franchise is almost set to begin as we get our first look at a lot of the new talent on the team in spring training. Before that happens, the Orioles make a move to bring back Edwin Encarnacion on a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. Connor Brogdon at single A gets released to make room for Encarnacion to join the club in Florida. On to spring training action. First, we have to talk about the biggest offseason free agent signing for this team. Coming over from the Yankees, he'll be our ace this season, Corey Kluber. He signed a 3-year deal worth $24.6 million, and last year for the Yankees, he started 23 games, went 14-4 with 143 2/3 innings pitched, had 105 strikeouts and an ERA of 3.51. The club is very excited to have a true ace this season, as John Means was supposed to fill the role last year, but got injured early in the season and missed the entire year as a result. Kluber, in his first start of spring training, immediately showed his ability to get batters chasing, especially on his breaking balls, which he's known to throw extremely effectively. Most importantly, he was able to strike batters out when on a 2-strike count and not let them get away from him. The question for Kluber is, at 35 years old, how effective can he still be, and when he does get in trouble, because it's going to happen, that's just baseball, how does he respond to it? You're not going to strike everybody out, and sometimes batters will get away from you. If you can limit the damage done when those things happen, then you'll have longevity in any game you pitch in, and the O's had to come back in his first start to get the 5-4 win over the Pirates. Next, our attention turns to new third baseman Starlin Castro. The 32-year-old came over from Washington in off-season free agency as he signed a 5-year deal worth $19.5 million. This team was bitten by the injury bug a lot last season. Don't expect Castro to be one of those guys this season though, because he's known to be extremely durable to the point of unbreakable. Last year, he played in 158 games for the Nationals and hit .264 with 17 home runs, 73 RBIs, and 52 walks. He did strike out 104 times, however. He hits lefties extremely well for contact, but can struggle against right-handed pitchers. In this 7-6 Phillies win, Castro was held hitless in his 3 at-bats and struck out once. Let's switch gears and go back to pitching as Grayson Rodriguez enters the year as a 19th ranked top prospect in all of baseball, and he's trying to make the major league club in spring training. Expectations for him are high as he has high potential and was the ace for AA Bowie last season. Grayson, I think, is going to have a lot of growing pains this season if he makes a major league roster. His control still isn't the greatest, which causes him to get into trouble that compounds on itself. Not to say that he can't get outs, because he can. The issue is leaving pitches in great spots for batters to do damage with, which can only last so long before you get burned and give up hits. And if you can't put batters away, either by striking them out, getting them to chase bad pitches, or making them hit pitches you want them to, you won't last long in games, which Rodriguez can do. He's got good stamina. In his 3 innings of work in this Yankee loss, he threw 60 pitches and gave up 6 hits and 3 runs, all of them earned. During spring training, our O's made another move to hopefully improve their pitching heading into the season. They released Bruce Zimmerman and signed 35-year-old free agent Wade Miley to a 2-year, $6.2 million contract. More on him later though, as we move our focus to Adley Rutschman. He's the 10th ranked prospect in baseball, the second highest Oriole, as the newly drafted closer Carlos Serrano takes the number 1 spot. He's down in AA though. Rutschman is also a player who dealt with an injury last season that caused him to miss significant time, but his potential is still extremely high as the organization views him as a long-term key piece for success, both on offense and defense. His bat still needs some work, but when he gets hold of one, he can make an impact there for sure. He's impressive with his ability to call a game from behind the plate and has the reaction time to pop up quickly from the stance and either make a play on a bunt attempt or, my personal favorite, nab a guy trying to steal. That is crucial for a catcher to be able to do well, in my opinion. I'd say Adley as of now skews more as a defensive catcher with the potential to become a good offensive one and round out his game. At only 22, he's got plenty of time to improve. I mentioned Wade Miley earlier, let's talk about him a bit. Last season with the Reds, he started 29 games and went 10-9. He pitched 165 1/3 innings, and in those had an ERA of 4.08, gave up 156 hits and 79 runs, 75 of which were earned. He also gave up 21 home runs, walked 63, and struck out 99 batters. His breaking balls are his better pitches. He's going to get batters chasing those, which will result in easier outs for the defense. What's going to be a potential problem for Wade, I think, is his lack of ability to blow people away, which is a given since he's now 35 and his fastballs are around 90 miles an hour around. That's not his game anymore, and it could lead to some less than favorable starts. He'll more than likely be the 4th starter in our rotation. He's got to fare better than Bruce Zimmerman did last season, right? Right? I'll tell you what though, if our offense can put up 22 runs in a game, I don't care if it's spring training or not. That's impressive and maybe a sign of things to come. We gotta talk about the big veteran bat of Chris Davis next. Funny because last year we had another Chris Davis and now here's Chris with the K. The guy is a bomber now, who I feel like if he's not hitting a home run, he's either striking out or driving the ball deep for an out somewhere. His role would primarily be as a DH, swapping with Edwin Encarnacion at that role every now and then, or Ryan Mountcastle if he needs a day off, he can still play left field. Much like Edwin Encarnacion, he's all power all the time, and I'm excited to see what he can do this season. Another young player who's trying to make the major league club is shortstop Anthony Servideo. Like Rutschman, he suffered from injuries last season a few times, luckily they were all minor. His defense is solid, and he has speed to be a threat on the bases when he gets on. Right now though, it seems that's where he's going to struggle, is getting on base at the major league level. So as much as I'd like to have him up in the majors with Adley, I don't think he's going to be up there when the final roster moves are made, at least to begin the season anyway. The last player we have to focus on is our Rule 5 draft pick, first baseman Jake Schneider. He's got good potential for sure, and has some other pluses like his speed and fielding ability. His bat is middle of the road with a little more power facing lefties. Since he was a Rule 5 pick, he had to stay on the main roster. However, the other upside for Jake is he's a utility player. He can play anywhere on the field besides shortstop and center, so he may be used in a variety of spots throughout the year. With that, spring training comes to a close, and here are the final numbers as far as stats go. Some notables: Cedric Mullins led in home runs and RBIs, Ryan Mountcastle led the team with a .333 batting average, and Anthony Servideo struggled, hitting just .37 in 27 ABs with 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 RBI. For pitching, Corey Kluber went 3-1 and in 34 innings got 35 strikeouts to 13 walks with an ERA of 2.91. I feel like we're going to enjoy having him at the top of the rotation this season. Grayson Rodriguez did well too, went 2-2 and got 22 strikeouts, 7 walks, and a 2.63 ERA. Wade Miley though had a tough time, and that has me concerned already despite the small sample size. He went 2-1 in 17 2/3 innings. His ERA was astounding and not in a good way, 9.17 with 6 strikeouts to 10 walks. The other big new acquisition, Sir Anthony Dominguez, even though I didn't get any games with him, did okay. 15 strikeouts to 8 walks in 15 innings, pitched at an ERA of 2.4. Year 2 opening day will be our next video where we'll get the season started at home against the Blue Jays. At this time, I will now take your players for our Year 2 draft class. I'll put the template in a pinned comment so you all can give me your players down below in that comment. I'm very excited to see how the players submitted last year perform and how their stories progress. Thank you for watching and supporting as always, and before you go, if you haven't already, leave a like and a nice comment down below. Check out the Ko-Fi page if you want to support me in a more personal way. Until next time, you know what to do, B-Team. Keep on shining and keep on grinding. I will see you all in the next one.